Good morning, whatever time it is where you are, because right now it's not about time on the clock. It's about the time in your life. You're standing at the edge of something. You feel it, don't you? You've been climbing, sweating, crying, falling, failing, and yet you're still here. And I came here today to remind you of something powerful. Don't you dare quit. Not now. Not when you've come this far. Not when the breakthrough might be just one more step ahead. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like giving up? Like life was pressing down so hard on your chest you could barely breathe? Like the mountain you're climbing just keeps growing taller the higher you go? I know that feeling. And I know this too. Every person who ever broke through had a moment where they almost gave up, but they didn't. They kept going. You see, life isn't always fair. Life will test you. It will knock you down again and again and whisper in your ear, you're not enough. It's never going to happen for you. But listen closely. There's another voice inside you, a voice that says, I've got more in me. I wasn't born to quit. I was born to win. That's the voice I want you to turn up today. Loud, clear, unshakable. Because here's the truth. The breakthrough always comes after the breakdown. You don't get the reward without the resistance. You don't get the testimony without the test. Some of you are praying for progress, but God has given you pressure. Why? Because pressure creates diamonds. You think you're being buried? No. You're being planted. And when the season is right, when you've grown roots, when your faith has matured, you're going to bloom. But not if you quit. So I want you to picture your dream right now. The business you're building, the weight you're trying to lose, the relationship you want to restore, that version of yourself you know you're meant to become. Got it? Now answer this. Are you willing to suffer for that dream? Are you willing to work when no one's clapping for you? Are you willing to believe when no one else does? Because that's what it takes. That's the price of the breakthrough. It's pain, it's patience, it's persistence, it's failing forward. It's getting up when everything in you says, just stay down. Let me tell you something. Winners and losers feel the same pain. They both cry. They both feel doubt. They both get tired. But one keeps going and the other stops. You are not a quitter. You didn't come this far just to come this far. You didn't cry all those tears, lose all that sleep, fight through all those battles just to give up now. No! You are here to finish what you started. You are here to rise again. You are here to break through. Listen, I don't know what your breakthrough looks like. Maybe it's freedom from debt. Maybe it's healing from heartbreak. Maybe it's finally stepping into the purpose that's been burning in your soul for years. Whatever it is worth the struggle. And the moment you decide, I'm not backing down, that's the moment the shift begins. Let me tell you something strange about breakthroughs. They often show up looking like breakdowns. You lose your job. Then you find your calling. You get rejected. Then you discover your strength. You hit rock bottom and realize it was the foundation you needed to build your future. But I'm tired, you say, then rest. But don't quit. Cry if you have to, but don't quit. Crawl if you must, but don't quit. Keep going. Because every step forward, no matter how small, is still progress. You're building resilience. You're building character. You're becoming someone who can handle the weight of what's coming. Because when the breakthrough comes, and it will come, you'll be ready for it. You see, life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're willing to fight for. And if you can fight through the nights when nobody believes in you, if you can fight through the seasons when nothing seems to change, if you can fight through the silence and the setbacks and the shadows, you'll earn your breakthrough. And when you do, when that moment comes, you'll look back and say, I'm glad I didn't give up. You'll see how the pain had a purpose. You'll see how the waiting was preparing you. You'll realize that the breakthrough wasn't just about what you got. It was about who you became. So let me say it again for the people in the back, the ones on the edge of giving up, the ones who think it's too late, the ones who think it's too hard. Keep going. Until the breakthrough happens, keep going. Until the walls fall, keep going. Until the dream is real, because it's coming. And it's going to be worth every tear, every sacrifice, every lonely night. This is your time. This is your season. You are not finished yet. Keep going until the breakthrough happens. There is a moment in every journey when everything seems like it's falling apart. You've done all you can do. You've pushed, you've tried, you've cried, and yet nothing seems to be working. That's the breakdown. It's the place where your strength feels like it has run out. Your hope feels like it's on life support. And your dream feels like it's slipping through your fingers. But here's the truth. That breakdown is not the end. It's not the death of your vision. It's not proof that you're failing. It's proof that you're close. You see, before a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it turns into a pile of goo inside a cocoon. Everything it once was dissolves. It's not beautiful. It's not graceful. It's a mess. That's the breakdown. But inside that chaos, something extraordinary is forming. And soon that creature breaks through its cocoon, not just different, but transformed. That's how breakthroughs happen. They are born in the dark. They come when you're at your lowest. They arrive when you've exhausted your own strength and all you have left is raw belief. Sometimes it's not even belief in yourself. It's just belief that there has to be more than this. And that's enough to keep going. When you're in the middle of the breakdown, you start questioning everything. You doubt yourself. You compare your journey to others, and you wonder if you were foolish to dream so big. You start hearing the voices, your own and sometimes others, saying, maybe it's not meant for you. But let me tell you, if you weren't meant for it, you wouldn't have felt it in your soul in the first place. The breakdown is it's where your faith is measured. It's where your commitment is forged. It's the place where average people quit and extraordinary people rise. It's where you become dangerous to your doubts, because now you're not just hoping, it's personal. Think about this. The moment right before water starts to boil is quiet. You don't see anything. It's just sitting there. But the heat is building. The energy is rising. And then suddenly it bubbles over. That's the breakthrough. But if you turn off the stove too soon, you never see it. That's what most people do. They stop right before the shift. They give up right before the blessing. They back down right before the miracle. The breakdown disguises itself as failure. But what it really is pressure. And pressure is what activates the potential inside you that comfort never will. Growth never comes from ease. It comes from pain, from struggle, from pushing beyond what you thought was possible. When you break down, your pride gets stripped away. Your ego takes a hit, but your heart gets clearer. Your motives get purified. Your why gets louder. And that's what prepares you for what's coming next. Because the breakthrough is not just about what you receive. It's about what you become. People talk about overnight success. That's a lie. What looks like an overnight miracle is usually the result of years of silent grinding, quiet sacrifice, private breakdowns that nobody saw, and faith that didn't quit when it got hard. The breakthrough is just a moment everyone else finally sees what you knew was real all along. And yes, it hurts. Growth hurts. Change hurts. Letting go hurts. But so does staying stuck. So does waking up each day knowing you're living beneath what you're capable of. The pain of the breakdown is the price of entry into the life you're meant to live. There's something powerful about that sentence. It's a reminder, a declaration, a wake-up call, because too often we find ourselves worn out in the middle of the journey, questioning whether we should keep going, thinking maybe we've hit our limit. But when you look back at how far you've already come, the nights you didn't sleep, the moments you kept pushing when no one was watching, the sacrifices you made, the fears you faced, and the doubts you silenced, you didn't endure all that just to stop here. You've already paid part of the price. You've already been through too much to throw it all away now. You've grown too much. You've survived too much. You've survived too much. You've come through storms that others didn't even see, and you're still standing. There's something inside you that got you this far. And that something didn't bring you here to abandon you now. Think about it. Every tear you shed, every failure you turned into a lesson, every lonely moment you kept going despite no applause, none of that was wasted. It was all a part of the process. It was shaping you, molding you, refining you for what's still ahead. That pain wasn't random. That struggle wasn't meaningless. It was building the version of you that could handle the weight of the dream you carry. People often quit not because they're weak, but because they forget why they started. They lose sight of the bigger picture. They get tired and confused, fatigued with failure. But if you could see the full story, if you could see how close you are, you'd get back up with a fire they couldn't put out. Because you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience, from strength, from a track record of survival. It's easy to begin something. Starting is exciting. It's filled with energy, motivation, and vision. But staying in it when it's no longer exciting, that's where the power is. That's where growth lives. That's where transformation happens. Right in the middle of the mess, that uncomfortable space between where you began and where you want to be, that's the proving ground. That's where you find out what you're made of. You didn't overcome all that pain to settle for average. You didn't break generational chains, rewrite your mindset, rebuild yourself from heartbreak and disappointment just to stop halfway. No, you're not done. You've come too far to let fear take the wheel now. You've come too far to let tiredness win. You've come too far to hand your future over to your feeling. Your dream may still be in progress, but progress is power. And progress means you're moving. You may not be where you want to be yet, but you're not where you used to be either. You didn't come this far to only tell a story about what you almost did, how you nearly made it, how you once tried. You came this far so you could finish strong, so you could look back with no regrets and say, I gave it everything. The distance between where you are and where you want to be is closing. And what gets you the rest of the way isn't more talent, more luck, or more applause. It's grit. It's discipline. It's reminding yourself every single day, I didn't come this far just to stop here. The real growth, the real victory, the real reward is waiting beyond this point, but you only reach it if you keep showing up. Pain is a universal experience. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care how talented you are, how much money you have, how educated you might be, or how noble your intentions are. Pain will find its way into everyone's journey. Disappointment will knock on every door. Setbacks will visit every dream. The difference is never in the pain itself, it's in the response to it. Winners are not immune to fear doubt, or exhaustion. They cry in silence. They struggle with insecurity. They fail more times than people know, but they keep going. They feel the weight, but they choose to carry it. They get knocked down, but they refuse to stay there. What separates them is not a lack of struggle. It's a refusal to surrender to it. You see, the reason most people lose isn't because they're incapable. It's because they make pain the finish line. They hit a wall and interpret it as a signal to stop instead of a signal to climb. Losers feel that same pain and take it as a confirmation that it's not for them. Winners feel that pain and decide it means they're getting closer. They understand that pain is not the enemy. It's a messenger. It's telling you that you're stretching, growing, becoming more than you were yesterday. Every success story has a chapter where everything looked like failure. There was a moment when giving up would have been easier, safer, even justifiable. But the ones who made it through were the ones who chose to move through the fire. They didn't wait for it to get easier. They got stronger. They didn't wait for the pain to disappear. They learned to walk through it. People often ask how winners stay motivated, but it's not always about motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. What keeps a winner moving forward is commitment. It's the discipline to take the next step, even when the excitement is gone, even when the reward seems distant, even when no one is watching. That level of consistency through discomfort, that's the mark of a winner. And let's be honest, losing is easy. Giving up is convenient. You don't have to risk anything when you quit. You don't have to be vulnerable. You don't have to fail again. But you also never win. You never grow. You never know what could have been. Winners aren't afraid of falling short. They're afraid of settling for less than they were born to do. It's important to recognize that winners don't always look like winners while they're in the process. Sometimes they're the quiet ones in the back, grinding without recognition. Sometimes they're the ones being underestimated, counted out, overlooked. But what they have is an inner resolve, a fire that doesn't burn out when the spotlight is off. They keep going when it's boring, when it's painful, when it's lonely. Because for them, quitting is not an option. That's what makes the difference. Winners are not superhuman. They're simply people who decided that nothing, not fear, not failure, not fatigue, was going to be stronger than their purpose. They made peace with the discomfort. They learned how to live in the tension. They stopped negotiating with pain and started using it as fuel. Pain is a doorway. On the other side is growth, achievement, fulfillment. But most people turn back before they ever see what's waiting. Winners walk through that door. They don't walk through because it's easy. They walk through because they've already made the decision, no matter what it costs, they're not backing down. They feel the same pain, but they turn it into power. There's a difference between the two, but in the moment, they can feel exactly the same. Darkness, silence, pressure, isolation. When life closes in and everything you once leaned on seems to disappear, it's easy to believe you've been buried, forgotten, left behind, pushed down into a place you can't escape. But what looks like a burial might actually be a beginning. What feels like the end might be the preparation for something new, something great. The seed has to go underground before it can grow. It has to sit in the dark. It has to be hidden. It has to go through a process that nobody sees. But in that darkness, life begins. In that silence, something is stirring. The outer shell breaks. The roots go down. And then, when the time is right, growth pushes upward. What once was hidden breaks through the surface. But only because It endured the season of being planted. Many people misinterpret their season. They think delay means denial. They think stillness means failure. They think quiet means forgotten. But that's not how growth works. Not every breakthrough is loud. Not every breakthrough is public. Sometimes the most important progress happens when no one is watching, when there's no applause, when it's just you and the process. It's in those seasons that character is built. You develop patience. You develop endurance. You learn how to hold on when everything in you wants to let go. That's the soil working on you. That's the environment making you stronger. That's the process preparing you for something you're not ready to carry yet. See, when you plant something, you don't dig it up every few hours to check if it's growing. You trust the process. You water it. You protect it. You give it what it needs, even when you don't see anything happening on the surface. And that's what life is doing with you. You're being shaped for something bigger than where you are. But you can't skip the planting season and expect a harvest. It hurts, no doubt. The darkness of disappointment, the silence of unanswered prayers, the weight of invisible battles, it's not easy. But you're not meant to stay buried. You're meant to rise. And the deeper the roots go, the stronger the growth will be when the time comes. What you're going through is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to ground you, to build your foundation so that when the growth comes, you don't fall apart under the weight of it. Too many people walk away from their destiny because they couldn't handle the planting season. They confused the process with punishment. But the truth is, being planted is a sign of potential. No one plants something they don't expect to grow. That trial, that loss, that delay, it's a setup. It's positioning you for something beyond what you imagine. You just have to stay in the soil long enough to see it bloom. The most beautiful trees were once seeds in the ground. The tallest mountains once came from the deepest earth. The most powerful stories began in the hardest places. And the only reason they matter now is because they didn't stay buried. They embraced the darkness. They used the pressure, and they let the soil do its work. When people can't see your progress, they may think you've been buried. When you can't see your own progress, you may think it too. But what's happening beneath the surface is more important than what's visible to the world. Don't rush it. Don't resent it. And don't mistake it. There's a point in every journey where the only option left is forward. Not because it's easy. Not because it feels good, but because turning back would mean giving up on everything you've worked for. That's the moment where most people quit. Not because they don't want it anymore, but because the process got harder than they expected. They thought success would come sooner. They thought the pain wouldn't last this long. They thought the support would be stronger. And when reality didn't match expectation, they stopped. But the ones who break through, the ones who rise, are the ones who keep going anyway. They wake up with doubt, with fear, with fatigue, and they move anyway. They don't wait for the perfect mood. They don't wait for the applause. They push through silence. They push through struggle. They push through the voice in their head saying, maybe this isn't worth it. Because I know it is. You don't need a million reasons to keep going. You just need one good one. One reason to take the next step. One belief that there's something on the other side of this moment that makes the pain worth it. That's what fuels people who won't quit. They've made a decision deep down that no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, they're not stopping until something shifts. Breakthrough doesn't come to the most talented, it comes to the most consistent. The people who refuse to be moved by how they feel. The people who show up on the bad days, who grind when no one's watching, who take the hit and keep swinging. They understand that the process doesn't respond to emotion, it responds to effort. There's a war happening in the mind of every person who's chasing something big, a war between the voice that says you're not enough and the voice that says just one more step. And the one you listen to determines your future. If you keep feeding doubt, it grows. If you feed faith, it grows. But either way, the battle continues. And the only way to win is to move through it, to act in spite of it, to keep walking, even with shaky legs, even with a tired heart. The truth is, the breakthrough never announces its arrival. It doesn't come with a warning. It shows up right after you almost gave up, right after you said, I don't know if I can do this anymore. It waits to see if you're serious. It waits to see if you're willing to endure just a little longer. And most people stop just short. They turn around at the edge of they throw in the towel one day too early. But the ones who keep going, they walk through the storm and come out transformed. They discover a version of themselves they never knew existed. They find strength they didn't know they had. And they realize that the pain wasn't the enemy, it was the passage. It was the path. It was the pressure required to prepare them for what was coming. Every breakthrough you've ever seen someone experience had a long road of resistance before it. Every success had nights of doubt, days of struggle, moments of silence. But it happened because they kept going. Not fast, not perfect, just forward, step by step, inch by inch, refusing to give in, refusing to back down, choosing progress over perfection, action over comfort, purpose over pain.